Hey, we're gonna go to Google today. Do that thing that we normally do. I just type into Google, like, hey, what are some great movies? Recommend me something. I don't know. It just gives me the opportunity to talk about a lot of just random movies I wouldn't normally talk about. Expect hot takes, expect amazing insight, right? Like, this is will probably be the best film criticism you will see all year. I think that first we'll go to action movies. Action movies. First up, Star Wars: Attack of the Clones. There are a couple things that Gen Z did wrong. Zoomers, I think you guys are great. I think you guys do a lot of things right, but at the same time, you do a lot of things wrong. Reclaiming the prequels is one of them. I understand that you grew up with them. That's fine. That's amazing. I'm glad you grew up with the prequels. They're garbage fires. They fucking suck. They're the worst of the worst movies. They're like really bad movies. Attack of the Clones is a really bad movie. I was just talking about this the other day. Like, what? George Lucas, well, the problem with Attack of the Clones is there's a lot of them, but one of the ones that gets brought up often is the romantic problem, I guess. Whatever. They say that like George Lucas doesn't understand romance, which is so confusing to me because I think American Graffiti is not only one of the greatest films ever made. I mean, George Lucas is a masterful filmmaker. Um, but I also think it's one of the most romantic and nostalgic ones. Like, you can't have nostalgia without romance and sentimentality. American Graffiti, I think, perfectly demonstrates that George Lucas understands intimacy, understands passion, understands want and desire. He understands love. So what the fuck happened on Attack of the Clones? Or, I mean, it could be a lot more simple than that. Maybe George cast someone that Natalie Portman actually finds attractive next time. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Attack of the Clones is really, 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 really bad. I know that it's really bad because I've definitely seen it like at least 5 times just by being alive. Just by virtue of being alive, or by the folly of existence. But I've seen it like 5 times, and I actually don't really know what the plot is. Whatever. Star Wars is not good in general. I'm not a Star Wars fan. I'm gonna. Did you like how I made fun of the prequels? Because I'm gonna praise the fuck out of Tomb Raider. I love Tomb Raider. That was great. I really like the original Tomb Raider games. On the PS1. The very first Tomb Raider game is one that I know like I can nerd out about that one. I know that game like the back of my hand. I loved it. And I actually thought it translated into movies pretty well. I mean, it's a goofy movie, but Angelina Jolie, like, wow, wow, you're awesome and hot, and you're some fucking dude. It was fine. Tomb Raider was good stuff. Daniel Craig was in that one, right? Gerard Butler was in the sequel. Daniel Craig was in the first one. I don't know. The first one is actually pretty rad. I'm down with it. I kind of miss big, dumb, stupid action movies like those. Like the big, dumb, stupid action movies that weren't really like self-aware enough. I kind of miss the earnestness of Tomb Raider. I miss that a lot. I like the Angelina Jolie one a lot more than the newer one they made with the girl from Ex Machina. Alicia Vikander, I think is her name. But yeah, I like the old one a lot. Minority Report is fucking awful. I fucking hate that movie. Um, but call me a precog because I knew it was gonna suck before I ever watched it. It's such an overrated movie. Steven Spielberg is not the best director on the planet. Tom Cruise is an annoying hack. Colin Farrell was in that movie, right? Dude, I hate that movie. I hate that movie so fucking much. It's really bad. It's really bad, and everybody loves it. I think it's so simple and ordinary and uninteresting and uninvolving and just fucking dumb and predictable. Like how can a movie about predicting the future also be so predictable that it's nauseating? I think it's so dumb. Batman 89, perfect film, the best Batman movie there ever was. Uh, Perfect film might be pushing it, but whatever. I think Tim Burton is probably the premier director of his time. Burton-esque is a visual style, not only like a cinematic one, it's a visual one. And I think that the foundations of Burton-esque can really be found in Batman and Beetlejuice, probably. His vision was already so fully formed that early in his career. And yeah, I love Michael Keaton as Batman. I love Kim Basinger as Vicky Vale. I I think that Jack Nicholson as the Joker is a hoot, is a real hoot. No, I just love the German expressionist stylings of Batman. I love it. And I love like Tim Burton's concept of superheroism, right? It's more like Tim Burton will always champion the misfits, you know. And his Batman films are really like misfits that have to begrudgingly put down other misfits. Um, Batman is a misfit, therefore Batman is virtuous. Yet the same can be said of the villains in his films. He will always champion the misfit identity, and these are his misfits writ large with some of the most in some of the most intense ways, right? Dragon, what the fuck does that say? Dragon Ball Z Broly? Some fucking nerd shit. Fucking hate that. Fuck Dragon Ball Z. Fuck your animes. Wait, Street Fighter 2, the animated movie? Oh no, my Achilles heel. I think that's a great movie. I think it's a wonderful movie. I don't think that like video games, I don't think video games like conceptually, whatever, like video games will always be like you can't translate a video game into a movie, right? Because you're removing the kinetic involvement. You're taking something that is interactive and making it forcibly passive. So I don't think that any like video game movie. I think all video game movies are designed to fail based on that idea. You know, like the visceral involvement is kind of what gives video games their power, and you're kind of removing its most crucial and defining element and applying a component to it that is inactive. Um, but with the Street Fighter 2 animated movie, there is a certain kind of kinetic energy. There is something pretty cool about it. Um, because it feels a bit chaotic, and I do really like that movie. Star Wars: The Phantom Menace is worse than Attack of the Clones. So, I mean, you already heard me go off about Attack of the Clones. The Phantom Menace is worse. Batman Returns, love Batman Returns. Michelle Pfeiffer was a whole generation's sexual awakening. I was about to make a joke, but Danny DeVito was mine. I think I'll still make that joke. Whatever. You know, Michelle Pfeiffer just hogs the spotlight for the sexuality in that movie, but Danny DeVito was fucking he slayed. It was slay as fuck. Comedies, Little Shop of Horrors. I love that movie. It's great. I think the Steve Martin Dentist song is one of the funniest things committed to film. The Addams Family. I think it's an adorable movie. Love the movie. It's really cool. Short Circuit. So I haven't watched Short Circuit since I was a kid. I don't think I like it, right? Like I don't there's not a single fiber of my being that wants to revisit it, but I there's no possible way I'm gonna like that movie. Did I like it when I was younger? I don't even remember if I did. I don't actually remember, but I remember seeing Short Circuit 1 and 2. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. The Lost Boys is basically a perfect film. Joel Schumacher applying his uniquely queer pop aesthetic to the vampire genre at a point where vampires were kind of adapting in their metaphor to express something a bit more androgynous and definitely a lot more gay. The AIDS epidemic was a real kind of horrific thing that we were dealing with, and there was something wrong with our blood, and it was transferable. Some of us want to live chaotic lifestyles, alternative lifestyles, and we have to deal with those repressed horrors that we have about those communities of people. The Lost Boys is great. Really attractive cast. Heathers is a wonderful film. It's a perfect black comedy. And I don't like to compare every single teen black comedy to Heathers. I don't do it normally. Like I try not to do it. In fact, I think Jawbreaker is a better film, but it's just the standard. Everyone till the end of time will compare every teen black comedy to Heathers, whether it truly warrants it or not. And that doesn't speak to to the limitations of the films in question. What it does a lot more is it speaks to the to the significance of Heathers, and Heathers is a very significant movie. Bring It On is adorable. I love Bring It On. I mean, I'm part of the Eliza Dushku simp fan club, so I have to love everything that she's in. It's kind of, it was in the contract when I joined the group. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. So I like Elvira, but you'll never catch me watching Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I don't give a fuck. Death Becomes Her. This is this probably will be a controversial take. I find it to be one of the worst fucking movies ever. Isabella Rossellini though was so fine as fuck in that movie, but I think Death Becomes Her is really bad. I understand that it's like that it's pretty significant within certain communities, but I hate it. I hate it. I find it just so fucking nauseating. Let's go to dramas. The Ten Commandments. Okay. I like Cecil B. DeMille a lot. I'm gonna hold my tongue on the Ten Commandments for now because I do want to do some Cecil B. DeMille videos later. Like I have a couple books about Cecil B. DeMille. I think he's a fascinating guy. Any guy who tells me like give me 2 pages of the Bible and I'll make you millions of dollars, that has to say something fascinating about the foundational framework of cinema. So, A Walk to Remember. I think it's pretty significant to my generation. I don't like the movie, right? I mean, I don't think I dislike the movie. It's just a movie that existed. Like that movie certainly exists. I do remember when that emo band A Day to Remember like started to get big. Um, I was like all of my friends and like girls at bars are talking about A Day to Remember, and I'm like, what? Why is everyone talking about that Mandy Moore movie in such an involved and passionate way? Why is everyone going crazy for the Mandy Moore film? But I was being stupid. The Outsiders. I love The Outsiders. It's a great late Francis Ford Coppola film. I love The Outsiders. Best performance in it, and there are a lot of great performances from a lot of great up and coming actors at that point. Emilio Estevez, Soda Pop, like holy shit, that's amazing. It's amazing. I think it's in the hospital where he's like yelling at Johnny's mom. Um, that's one of the best acted scenes of the 80s. And like it can actually compete with performances in other Francis Ford Coppola films. Francis Ford Coppola is always able to get, or he's normally able to get like a pretty revealingly emotional performance from actors in his films. And Emilio Estevez, he was able to get such a tender and chaotic um scene out of him. He's great throughout the entire movie. That's really where his character peaks internally. Cruel Intentions. I love that movie. Yeah, I know. A couple of you out there, you viewers, have asked me to cover that movie. And I will, definitely. Cruel Intentions is one of my favorite movies, and it's in the Your Cult Boyfriend like verified handbook of perfect late 90s, early 2000s postmodern teen movies. Come on, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, Reese Witherspoon, and Selma Blair. Like fucking hell yeah, dude. It's a beautiful movie. It's amazing. It's amazing. I was gonna cover it with Isabel, but then Isabel's like, I don't know, this movie might be too sexy for us to cover. It's a really sexy movie. A Beautiful Mind. I don't give a fuck about A Beautiful Mind. I think that's one of the first times I saw Paul Bettany though, and he was fantastic in the film. And I really won't pass up an opportunity to look at Jennifer Connelly, but I mean, Ron Howard is just such an indescribably boring filmmaker. Good Will Hunting we've talked about in these videos before. I do like it. Fried green tomatoes I don't like. So so there. How about that? 1980s adolescence movies. The Breakfast Club I think is basically a perfect movie. Um, I think it's incredible. You know, uh, I have noticed that Gen Z likes to call it overrated, which is possibly the dumbest fucking decision because it's not. It's just a beautiful fucking movie and beautifully acted, beautiful script. John Hughes was a genius for a good 10 years there. Pretty in Pink, though, which is next, is my favorite thing that John Hughes is ever involved with. I think Pretty in Pink is a masterpiece. A masterpiece. It hits me right in the heart, and I love that movie. Say Anything's really good too. I'd love to cover Say Anything. I need to do some Cameron Crowe on the channel. Say Anything's great. Can't Buy Me Love isn't great, but it's definitely one I watched a lot when I was younger. I watched Can't Buy Me Love quite a bit. And I enjoyed it when I was a kid. I did revisit it recently. Yeah, there's wear and tear on it, but I think it still has a certain charm that I admire a lot. Footloose. And I was obsessed with that movie when I was like 10. I wanted to be Ren. I wanted to be Kevin Bacon, bringing dance back to the town. Footloose is cool. I don't care. Footloose is really cool. Some Kind of Wonderful is okay. It's just okay. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a good movie, but it's not a John Hughes film that I like deeply respect. I know it's a lot of I don't care enough to criticize the movie. I just think it's a bit too whimsical and fantastical for me, to be honest. But it still has like great emotional and comedic moments. It still has everything that you want from a Hughes kind of teen film. I much prefer Pretty in Pink and The Breakfast Club, and certainly 16 Candles over something like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And I believe that wraps it up for this video. You guys seem to enjoy these movies, or these videos, I'm sorry. You guys seem to enjoy these videos, and I haven't put one out in a little while. As you can see, I'm still just as much of as some of you out there like to say, a pretentious idiot as I used to be. Haven't changed much. Everyone else changes. I stay the same. Subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. I'm not going to lecture you about it. Thank you for watching my video, though.